needed resources, and they had a clinician with them to see if anyone needed any health resources from a clinician. But then they also were here to arrest an individual. So that person is on their way to the jail now. There are no cops on this scene anymore that I can tell. However, that doesn't mean they're not going to show back up. This race and homelessness vigil today is mostly organized by Denver Homeless Out Loud. It's lasting about 4 days. It's to represent and highlight the amount of Black, Indigenous, and people of color who are disproportionately affected by houselessness. So I'm across the street now. I'm gonna see if anyone is interested in saying what happened.
Yeah, so yeah, I got 4 seats plus me and then the back.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry, the top.
So they have like they have a little mobile bookstore that's new since this morning. Let me get my light out.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Stained Arts Mobile Bookstore.
And pretty much everything that we know, or like if there's stuff you know is coming back tomorrow.
And then they have their check-in table where you can get some papers about what this vigil is for and sign in if you want. There's also the food table. All of it's free.
Okay.
That's up ahead.
After we get more stuff loaded, that's the pickup we're loading up? Okay. You could help carry, I got signs, put all the signs in the bed of the truck, put the cables on top of that. Okay. Yeah.
Does anyone who was here when the cops came want to talk about what happened?
Sorry, say it again?
Anyone who was here when the cops showed up, does anyone want to talk about what happened? I'm live streaming, I'm pointing the camera.
Yeah, I was right there.
Do you want to talk on the camera? Is that fine?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, yeah, do you want to explain why the cops showed up that you know of and what happened?
The cops showed up because they wanted to spin this as like a protest encampment, which it's really not. This is a vigil for melanated homeless people and those who have not been counted in the census. And Cut was here recording everything, and he's been here pretty much all day on and off. Basically what happened was he was interviewing I forget his name, but the guy who's leading this vigil from D-Hole, and he asked me to hold his gimbal so he could like zip up his jacket, and then after he zipped up his jacket and after the leader of this vigil had finished what he was saying, he was all like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to my employees in reference to the cops, because you know our taxpayer dollars does pay their fucking salary. Like as soon as he walked up, he was all like, hey, where are your badge numbers? I can't see your badge numbers. And immediately they were all like, you have a warrant. And like 3 of them just like jumped on him and fucking tackled him to the ground.
So right as he like walked up to the cops to ask them questions, they immediately arrested him?
Yeah, like on site. I mean, they're quite familiar with who Brian Loma is, who Cut the Plastic is. It's not like his identity is that secret to DPD or anybody else. you know, but still that's kind of terrifying to see.
No, because
and why are you out here tonight?
I'm out here because I have been struggling with house inequality for most of my life. I am currently houseless and have been for on and off for the past like 4 years. I'm here to stand with my melanated brothers and sisters who have experienced house inequality such as I have, and I'm here to represent the inequalities that people who don't have housing security versus those who do in today's day and age in our state of government.
Awesome. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Yeah, fuck the police.
Thank you for talking.
My favorite drink, shit. That's fucked up, man.
So that person just said that the individual who was arrested went up to police to ask about why some of them didn't have their badge numbers, and then according to that person we just interviewed, right away the cops decided to arrest him, saying that there was a warrant. So we will see later if there in fact is a warrant. Again, the person who was arrested does usually take media at types of events like this, and the person we just interviewed does believe because of that he was probably targeted. So again, we're in Denver, Colorado, right outside the city and county building. There are about 12 tents set up as props as part of this race and homelessness vigil. Folks are trying to stay here for 5,265 minutes. That is a calculation of the estimated total of Black, Indigenous, and people of color who are without housing here in Denver. And it's very disproportionate to how many of those folks actually make up the entire population. They're going to be having speakers every day and free meals throughout the day as well. Those bells are from the City Hall building. And as you can see, there's a metal gated fence around the entire building. That's been here since the protests started happening because of the murder of George Floyd that spurred all across the country. Today's actually George Floyd's birthday. Yeah, this gate fence was put up during during when that unrest began. And as you can see, all the windows also still have plyboard attached to them as well, because they were getting broken and vandalized and such. I think folks are still trying to figure out what to do because of that police interaction, but I'm gonna see if anyone else wants to talk now. Oh, it's very blurry. Sorry folks, there we go. Jerry, can I ask you some questions when you have a second?
Anything you want, but I don't know if you're going to political correct.
That's fine. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Right now, is that fine?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm stiffing up. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So, can you talk about what happened when the police first showed up and what why they said they showed up?
They showed up because of the camping ban ordinance, because we had put the tents up, and so they showed up. What they said when they first showed up was we only had, we were using them as props for our peacefully assembly, and according to the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, they also, we had one person allowed, well, 2 people to go into a tent. One was ADA and a wheelchair. I let her and the guy that was taking care of her go into a tent because she had got cold because the weather had dropped. They said that they had to come out. They did get their name, but they did not run it. Then after that, as I was talking down here on this side, Therese and well, Sanchez talked to me, and I could tell him like this, man, the truth. And the truth is, to the matter is, we are here doing a assembly peacefully, and that we were just trying to bring attention and awareness to race and homelessness, to the lack of housing, to the lot, and by the weather being dropping, this is a good night for people to have a tent, a sleeping bag to cover themselves up with, because it's cold right now, and I'm not freezing, but my body is locking up, and it's gonna be even colder tomorrow. But we will be here tomorrow at the same time. First it came out with telling us to break down the tents, and I said no, I'm not bringing down anything, because according to the ordinance, it says you cannot use them as either under you, over you, as a covering from the weather. It was still daylight hours when they said that, and I could point that out to them. Later on, they said they could stay up, but no one could be in it, and they said they will be back. So with that, we got together and just said, since no one can use a tent, and they all were getting vouchers, what they was getting voucher until we had an incident out here.
So some of the unhoused folks who were here were given motel vouchers?
They were given, it's supposed to have been 40 people. So that's over $4,000 that the police department was spending to house people for tonight.
But is that only for 2 nights?
No, one night.
Oh, only one night.
One night. And the thing is, from my understanding is that there's a hotel voucher for them tomorrow as well. But at the same time, I just want to say that, you know, this is asinine. This is a problem, all because our government have failed us on every level, city, state, and federal. This is a problem because our neighborhood have failed us. They think because they bought a house on some property that they have a right to say who can move or set up anything in their neighborhood. But at the same time, the city have a problem because they did not go out and ask permission and to give them and to talk to the community about what they are trying to do, and they don't have a clue to what they are doing. Even though this was supposed to be an 81-hour holding the ground where we are, this is ridiculous when you cannot do your exercise your right as a Denver right, as a U.S. citizen, and they are still not coming out with viable solution. And this is from the officials that you elect, and something's wrong here. Hines came out here, Chris Hines came out here from District 10, I believe, for a moment, and everything, but
what did he say?
And what he said was, well, first I'm gonna tell you what I said. First of all 13 council people should be out here advocating for a safe outdoor space, they should be advocating for more housing, and they should be also talking to the developers about building apartment and putting more than 10% or none at all. This is about housing people and about who are the ones that are immediately affected by the lack of housing right now. It is the poor, indigenous people, as our theme said, race and homelessness. It is about the indigenous people, it is about black people and people of color not been housed at the rate that our white counterpart. But I'm not surprised, because it have always been that way. Even during the time when my ancestors were set free, they were set free to what? Nothing. And the same thing that was going on in the 19th century and 1860 and so on, it's the same thing that's going on today. But what they tell y'all, and each individual believe it, is the lies, the propaganda, and the decision making, and the foolishness and the wastefulness of taxpayer dollar. I know I'm off, but I'm not rambling. I'm just telling you the truth. And the thing about it is, what? Is this something that we can do every day? No. But why? But the question you might ask yourself: why do we have to come out here and do this to get people housing? We shouldn't have to do that. Houses should be on a scale to where people rent them out according to people's income, according to not the area, not to divide, not to separate, not to classify. Every one of us is not capable of making $80,000 a week. $80,000 a year. And to be honest with you, that is not enough to maintain yourself and to save some money so that you do not become unhoused. What we need to do, we need to come together and demand better, not just for yourself, but for every unhoused, every poor person that is out here that is going to have to spend another winter out here in the cold, not only in Denver, but throughout the United States. But let's be real, throughout the entire the earth. We got homeless people spread it throughout the entire four corner of the earth, and we can do better. And if doing better is sweeping people, is doing better to have police show up at a protest and telling you you cannot, you prop, something is wrong with that messaging. We need for Mayor Hancock to get off his ass, quit listening to the developers, quit listening to his own ideology, and use the alphabet for what it is. Get people housing. GPH.
Do you want to say anything else?
And furthermore, I am Jerry Burton with the Unity Party for District 33. Vote me, because I am not for sale. Money does not move me. People move me. I don't need your money. I need your vote. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry.
I sound like a politician. I'm getting happy. I'm getting hang of it now. Thank you, guys. All right. You want a warning ticket?
So that was Jerry Burton with Denver Homeless Out Loud. And we are still here in Denver, Colorado. Folks are here trying to stay here for about 4 days. It all depends how the city continues to respond to this vigil. There were probably about 20 cops here within the last hour. Cops came in and were seeing if anyone needed resources, and a clinician was here to see if anyone needed any assistance with their health. According to Jerry, there were also 40 unhoused folks who were given a one-night voucher in a motel. And the cops in Denver seem to give out these 1 or 2 night motel vouchers, or try to give people bus tickets out of town more readily than the city seems to provide affordable, stable, long-term housing for folks. Some folks decide not to go inside to a shelter or a motel because they have all of their survival belongings. So some of those folks who went into the motel tonight probably had to hand their gear off to some friends to watch for them, depending on how much they had. And again, one person was arrested tonight for apparently having a warrant out for his arrest. They did not give any details as to what type of a warrant, and that person shows up to events like this to film and record what's going on. And to someone we interviewed earlier and to other advocates I've heard talking about the arrest, they believe it was a targeted arrest because of the fact that this person does go to these types of events and record them and film them, and does end up recording and filming the police. It's pretty cold out already right now, and it's only 8:15 p.m. Mountain Time. As Jerry was saying, people need to be able to cover themselves on top and underneath to stay warm so that your heat doesn't get absorbed into the ground. But that's illegal to do here in Denver and other places across the country. The Vigil has about 12 tents set up, and they're saying they're props. No one is actually inside the tents, because if folks are inside the tents, that is illegal. So that's what the cops also said when they stopped by, was that if they are just props and no one's inside them, then they can stay up. So it's pretty clear that they'll be showing up most likely at least one time during the night to see if folks are in the tents. Probably once the sun is up, they'll come out again. At least that's what they do in other areas of the city where people are existing outside during the night. They'll come throughout the night and either ask you to move or say that they're seeing if you need resources, even when you're tucked in warm in your tent sleeping. Well, I think we are going to go down here shortly because folks are trying to coordinate with each other and figure some logistics out, it looks like. Yeah, but this is the first day of the Race and Homelessness Vigil hosted by Denver Homeless Out Loud. It's to highlight the estimated amount of folks who are Black, Indigenous, and people of color who are disproportionately affected by houselessness locally, but also throughout the country. But the number is locally 5,265, and so folks are trying to stay in this spot for that duration of time. There are going to be speakers and there's free food the entire time as well. One council person, Candy C. DeBaca, is going to be speaking tomorrow. But and Jerry said one, I forget his name, one other council person showed up today, but he was saying he thinks that all the council members should be out here advocating for folks to be able to stay where they are and not be swept, but also to obtain affordable housing where they're able to stay and be safe and warm, especially during the winter. As I said, it's already pretty cold out and it's not even 9 o'clock yet. We're going to continue covering this vigil every day, so make sure to check for updates. We're going to also try to cover some of the speakers who are going to be here and continue interviewing the organizers and folks who are part of this vigil about why they're a part of it and the significance of it. So thank you for watching. This is Alex with Unicorn Riot in Denver. If you appreciate our coverage, you can go to unicornriot.ninja and click on our Support Our Work tab. Again, today is George Floyd's birthday, and a lot of the resistance and uprising here in this country that has been going on for months now was started because he was murdered at the hands of one particular person, Derek Chauvin, but other police officers stood by and allowed that act to happen. Derek Chauvin is currently not in jail anymore. You can check out our coverage of his release on a $1 million bail, and you can check out, we're releasing a part 1 of a George Floyd report back of the uprising, so make sure to check out our coverage that we're releasing tonight. And again, we will continue covering this. We'll continue covering this vigil throughout the week. Yeah, the report back of the George Floyd uprising that we're releasing tonight is episode 1 of a 5-episode series of reporter reflection of the George Floyd uprising. It's going to be premiered on YouTube at 10 p.m. Central, which is 9 p.m. Mountain Time, so in about 40 minutes, and also tonight on Facebook in about 10 or so minutes, I believe. So make sure to check that out, and we appreciate all of you so much. When I first got here, there were a bunch of cops, but they left super fast, which is positive for the folks who are here. But as I said, I would be surprised if they didn't show up again because of all of the coverage I've done over the years of sweeps and police interaction with unhoused people, as well as advocates for unhoused people. The police are definitely hands-on for a lot of it, so I would not be surprised if they didn't show up. Sorry, I got distracted because a couple security guards just walked behind me. Not sure with what company. But anyway, thank you all for watching. We're gonna go down here in a second. Thank you so much for staying tuned, and also don't forget to check out the George Floyd episode 1 that's premiering very shortly. Thank you all.